Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape. Today we're reviewing the KBO Breeze, a fully outfitted commuter style electric bike priced at $1,400. So let's get into this review. Okay, let's get into the walk around. Obviously, this is the orange KBO Breeze. It is also sold in black, and they also have a step-through variation if you prefer. And I have to give the KBO team a lot of credit. This paint job looks excellent. I really like the orange. I realize that everyone doesn't prefer kind of an out loud color like this really bright orange. It even has a little bit of a sparkle to it. But in my opinion, if you're buying an electric bike, you might as well get a fun color. Love that they have the matching rack, the fenders of course, and the fork, all the same paint color. It looks really sharp. Okay, let's start in the front here. We've got 180 millimeter discs, mechanical disc brakes. These are Tektro Aries disc brakes. And then you have this front fender, which attaches here to the fork. One thing to keep in mind is I know there have been some complaints about this fender fitting a little bit too tightly to the tire, but KBO has already come out. They've come out with a video telling you how you can adjust it to try to avoid any rub, but they're also going to be getting some fenders in. So if you continue to have issues, you'll be able to get some replacement fenders. So just a glimpse into what you might be able to expect from KBO. They are a newer company on the market selling electric bikes. As far as suspension goes, I wasn't able to find a brand on this, but I've been riding this around a little bit, and hopefully you'll be able to tell from my riding footage just how plush this suspension is. I'm actually pretty impressed, and it does have a lockout if you choose to do so. And then we have an integrated front headlight. I've seen other headlights that look very similar to this, and in my experience, while it does provide some visibility at night, if you are riding at night frequently, I would highly recommend you get something to attach to your handlebars, something a little bit brighter. Okay, let's move on to the cockpit. This bike does have a right-hand twist grip throttle, and after riding electric bikes for a number of years now, I'm starting to prefer the twist grip as opposed to the thumb throttle, especially if you're going to be using it a lot. It can get a little tiring pushing down on thumb throttles, and you can kind of lock these throttles a little bit more when you're riding. Of course, you want to do so safely. You have a 7-speed Shimano shifter right here, thumb shifter. And while they are using the Tektro mechanical disc brakes, these are unbranded brake levers. They do have the rubber grip here, and these do have motor cutoff switches as well. Moving on to the left side, I do have a cell phone mount that does not come with this electric bike, and I did quickly put on this mirror on the left side just for some of my riding. And then you have the display here. To turn the bike on, you hold the M button. You have your battery capacity in the top left. You have your 5 modes of pedal assist, as well as turning pedal assist off. You have your current speed in miles per hour in the top right-hand corner. And then hitting M, you can show various other information, such as total trip time, max speed, etc. And they do have what I would consider a nice sounding bell. If you're looking for something a little bit more substantial, I have a few electric bike horns listed on my electric bike accessories list. That's back at my website, ebikeescape.com. The other thing that I wanted to call out is these handlebars. They definitely give you a little bit more of an upright riding position, and of course you can adjust these a little bit closer to you depending on your preference. And then we have a 16 amp hour battery. It is semi-integrated into the frame. I've talked about this on several of my electric bike reviews, but they're using the battery cases from Rienshin. This is the Rienshin Dorado Plus. And what is nice about this particular battery is it does have a handle, which makes it slightly easier for you to remove it from the frame. I'll try to demonstrate that here for you. So if I turn this key, I can pull on this handle and it comes out at a little bit of an angle. And this particular battery does have a built-in USB port as well in case you need to charge up your phone or something else. As far as branding goes, they just have KBO listed here as well as on the back of the seat. As far as tires go, this isn't a brand that I'm familiar with. They are called Panaracer tires. They are 27.5 by 2.4 inches. They do have the nice reflective sidewall that I like to see on electric bikes. Great visibility at night. As far as pedals go, they include these Welgo metal pedals, very common on electric bikes in this price range and even on some more expensive ones as well. Of course, you can always upgrade those if you'd like. The controller is located here, which is a really common spot for electric bikes where the controller isn't integrated into the frame, but it doesn't protrude out from the frame, which is nice. For the rear derailleur, they have Shimano Altus. Again, a very common component that you'll find on electric bikes in this price range. I find that it is adequate for a vast majority of people who are riding electric bikes today. And then you have that rear fender comes installed on the bike already, so you don't have to mess with installing that. And there is no slap guard here, so if you want to protect this nice paint job, you might want to buy some 3M tape. That's typically what I use in various areas around my electric bikes where I want to protect the frame. And then you have this really nice rear rack. Again, comes pre-installed, matches the rest of the bike, and they do have the blaze light integrated rear light as well. And the brake light does go on no matter what once you hit the brakes. And if you happen to have the front headlight on as well, then the rear light is always on, but then when you hit the brake, it flashes. And the kickstand is mounted towards the rear, so no chance of the pedals hitting it. That's just nice if you're moving your bike around in your garage. KBO includes this branded seat, and what I immediately noticed about this seat is it is a little bit wider than some of the seats that I see come on electric bikes. Of course, that's going to be personal preference. You can try this seat out, and if you choose to, you can upgrade it to something a little bit more comfortable. And if you want even more comfort, I highly recommend a suspension seat post. You can check out my electric bike accessories list. I have a few linked off of there. KBO has included bottle cage bosses on the top of the top tube here, and they do include a bottle cage if you choose to put it there. You just want to be aware that it sometimes can get in the way when you're hopping on and off this bike. And this is a 750 watt peak motor. You'll see how this performs in my riding footage, which is coming up. That concludes the walk around. Let's get into some riding footage. I'm going to take this up some hills and I'll give you more thoughts on the KBO Breeze. Okay, let's get into some riding footage. First, I'm just going to take the bike up a pretty small hill, and then I'll do some max speed with throttle only, as well as max speed while pedaling, and then I'll take it up a bigger hill so you can get a sense of the climbing ability. So this is just a small hill. I have it in 7th gear, pedal assist 2. Still pretty easy for the bike to handle. This is a 500 watt nominal 800 watt peak motor. All right, let's do the throttle only test right now. All right, 3, 2, 1. You can see on my cell phone, I have the top speed 18, 19, 20 miles an hour, 21. So the screen on the KBO bike is reading a little bit faster, 22 and a half, 21.7. But my GPS says I'm going right at 20 miles per hour. Okay, so now let's see pedaling. I assume the top speed will be the same. Here we go. Let's go in pedal assist 5. 22. And I believe the motor is just cutting off once it hits that 20 miles per hour. I don't really feel the motor helping me as much when I'm pedaling. So I would say top speed is solidly 20 miles per hour. All right, so just to give you a little bit of idea of speed with the pedal assist. So I'm in 7th gear, pedal assist 1, pedaling pretty moderately. And I'm going about 10, 11 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and go in pedal assist 2. About 13 or 14. Pedal assist 3. 17, 18. Pedals are definitely starting to spin a little bit more. So at pedal assist 3, I'm pretty close to hitting that 20 miles per hour. And if I was in a lower gear, I would definitely be spinning my pedals quite a bit more. And there's pedal assist 4, hitting that 20 miles per hour. So I can't imagine you using pedal assist 5 too often unless you really want to accelerate a lot faster. Of course, you can always use the throttle at that point. And here's a gradual hill before we get to the much larger hill. I'm in pedal assist 3, still the 7th gear. Bike should have no problem handling this hill. I'm not pedaling too terribly hard. All right, so this is the hill that I've taken a number of the electric bikes that I've tested up. And we're going to do a throttle only test. And we'll see what this bike is capable of doing. Of course, I don't want to do any harm to the motor, so if it gets tough for the motor, I'll turn it off. So right now I'm at 20 miles an hour, and the hill has just kind of started. Still at 20, holding pretty strong. And I can feel the motor working a little harder now. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. I think it's going to hold me at 13 the entire rest of the way. And this is a pretty steep hill. And if you're new to electric bikes, pedaling a little bit actually goes a long way when you're going up hills. Obviously, I would not recommend that you do this with your electric bike. $14 miles an hour. And it made it to the top, throttle only. I have to say I am impressed. I thought I might have to stop a little bit earlier and start helping it along. Okay, now I'm going to turn around and we'll do it again with pedaling. And obviously I'll make it up no problem, but try to give you a sense of how this thing can handle hills while you're pedaling. Okay, here we go pedaling. I'm actually going to shift down, go into pedal assist 2, 6th gear, pedaling pretty moderately, going 12 miles an hour. All right, let's see what pedal assist 3. Much easier on the legs. 14 miles an hour. And I would say I'm not working too terribly hard. with these rear hub motors with 7 gears, when we typically ride them, we are riding them in 7th gear, 6th gear most often. All right, let's go pedal assist 4. And let's see, 5, I'm going about 16 miles an hour. So I would say the KBO Breeze has really good hill climbing ability, especially when you're comparing it with other bikes of similar motors rated at 800 watts peak or thereabouts, 500 watt sustained motors. All right, with that, let's get into some other riding footage and I'll give you more thoughts on the KBO Breeze. The KBO Breeze at $1,400 is about what I'd expect for an e-bike with these specs, though I've seen KBO offer $150 off 2 e-bikes and you might be able to find additional coupons on their website. Speaking of other e-bikes in this price range, one of the standout features in your comparison shopping might be the large 48 volt 16 amp hour battery or 768 watt hours. KBO says their battery packs are using Samsung cells and the stated range of between 30 and 55 miles is plausible, though of course there are lots of variables that go into range. Speaking of the battery, KBO includes a 3 amp charger, which is a small but nice perk since many e-bikes today come with a 2 amp charger. I also like that the KBO comes fully outfitted. No need to shop for fenders, racks, or lights. Plus, everything is paint matched. The orange was such a draw, in fact, that my dad quickly called dibs on the KBO. While a step through would probably be easier for him, he still was able to hop on just fine. Suffice to say, it's going to be a fun summer with all of us on electric bikes. I also think some riders will prefer these handlebars, which offer a little bit of a middle-of-the-road riding position, not so leaned over, but not completely upright either. I am 6 feet tall, and I feel like those even taller could fit on this bike comfortably. Even my wife, who is 5'5", was able to ride with no issues. The KBO Breeze weighs 62 pounds. The performance on the KBO Breeze will be sufficient for a vast majority of use cases. I think my hill climb footage demonstrated that well. The front suspension is a nice addition, especially for what seems to be an unbranded component. I was pleasantly surprised with its performance. Now, KBO is a new company in the e-bike space, and they are definitely one we will keep our eye on as more customers start receiving their bikes. They offer a 2-year warranty, which is pretty rare in the e-bike space, though obviously this hasn't been tested since they are a new company. The company also offers a step-through model, which has an integrated battery, but unfortunately it only comes in white. Sorry, orange lovers. They also make a stealthy single-speed e-bike, which I hope to review as well. So if you're in the market for a sub $1,500 e-bike, I think the KBO is worthy of consideration. Throw on some panniers and you'll be all set for wherever your adventures take you. Let me know what you think about the KBO Breeze in the comments. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, as this is what makes videos like this possible. I'll have a link to the KBO Breeze in the description, along with my e-bike accessories list and my favorite e-bike brands list. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Nice.